Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here and welcome to this week's episode of The Knife Guys. So what are we talking about today? Today I want to talk about my predictions when it comes to trends that I think are coming to the knife world in the future. I'm not saying I'm absolutely right. I'm just going to give you guys my ideas based on observations. Thanks so much to my patrons for supporting me. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. We've seen a lot of different trends, right? It's just the way that it is. You're going to see trends no matter what community you are a part of. Even if it has nothing to do with the knife world, right? We see trends. Certain things become popular. Certain things are kind of, like it's like specific groups of people, right? And I think that's the nice thing about, being interested in any enthusiast community, right? Or any enthusiast hobby. You can just lean into the trends that you enjoy and lean away from the ones that you don't. Now, the word trend triggers certain people. I don't know why. Probably the whole main character thing, right? But for some reason, whenever the word trend is brought up, there are two small groups of very sad people who get very upset, right? And before I talk about today's topic, I want to talk about this because I have to poke fun at it because it's so silly, right? We got the folks who are just anti-trend in general. I steer away from trends, right? I just stick away from them completely. Not a trend person. I walk by the beat of my own drum, okay? If it's a trend, count me out. Huh? Trendville? Population, not me. Don't like trends. If it's cool, I don't like it. I think this is an irresponsible way to think. It's just really, okay. So I got done with this phase of my life when I was about 17. And I feel like most of you guys did too, right? You go through middle school and, maybe you were just a super cool middle schooler and you didn't thought, you were anti-conformist. And well, when I was in middle school, I was very, very concerned with what everybody thought and I had to really keep up with everything. And then I got into high school and I was anti-trend because I was like, you know what? Just stick it to the, and I'm not going to like what's cool because I'm anti-trend. And then you get to be a little bit older, and I think for me it was 17 or 18, and I was like, maybe I'll just like what I like, and if it ends up being cool, then great, and if it's not, then whatever, I'll just like, So, most of us got done with that when we were teenagers, but there are a lot of, 30-year-old, 16-year-olds, I guess, who are still very much like if it's cool, then I hate it by default, which is, I don't know. I think this is it's it's just an unevolved, angsty, teenager-y way to think. So if that's how you feel comfortable walking around in the world, then I guess go ahead. I think that's very stupid. But if that, because I said trend, I feel like I have to address this, this crowd of people. We have something to say. We are the anti-trend people. You said trend and we are here. Yes, and we don't like it. Whatever you're about to talk about, we just want to make sure that we don't like it. All right, cool. The other group is the I'm sick of the blank trend crowd. And that could be any of us, right? All of us at one point or another have been sick of a blank trend, right? I've said it with smaller, here lately I've been like, hey, what's the deal? Why is there this trend with little teeny tiny knives? We've got enough of them, right? So I'm definitely one of those people, right? I am. But also, I have to remind myself periodically, oh, wait, that's right. Of course. I can just not buy it. I can just not buy it. It's as simple as that. When there is a trend occurring, we don't live in the 1700s where it's you have the brown knife or we have the dark brown knife. People are like, dang it, I'm so sick of this not completely dark brown trend because it's taken up half of the industry. No, we don't live in that time. We live in a time period where you have so many options, right? thinking that you even have a scope of 10% of what's actually out there is just silly, right? You have too many choices to complain about a trend that you perceive as dominating the industry to the point where it cripples your decision-making process. No, you're going on a mental fool's errand is what that is. You have too many choices for a certain trend to bother you. If a trend is bothering you, just turn your body and look in a different direction, right? Or take your fingertips and type in a different website or type in a different search. Actually, it's as simple as just typing in a different search, right? There's just we have too many options, way too many. So I get it, right? But you don't have to be, it doesn't actually affect you, right? It's just ventilation. All right, cool. You've done you've done that. It's almost like Little Complex does an obligatory, he does two things. He makes up fake arguments and he does a silly voice. It's obligatory. He has to do it because it's his thing. It's his shtick, right? And I think now he's just forcing it. He doesn't even have a reason anymore. He's just forcing it. I don't even like Metal Complex. I'm a nonconformist. Okay. All right. I'm done. Did he just call himself popular? So, I'm done with that. I'm done with the side ranting. I do want to talk about what I think, now that I've chased off the 80% of people who only make it through like the first 4 minutes of my videos. I do want to talk about what I think is going to be a major trend. Again, there will be lots of trends. I know this. I don't know what they're all going to be. I'm sure it's all stuff that I can't even hope to predict, right? For all I know, the craziest and most popular trend is something that I can't even wrap my mind around. I have a feeling Brian Winters will be involved with it, but I can't. Or Hawk, right? Or Serge Panchenko. I've always said that's like, those are the three. They're just like slowly swirling around like this central mass that's pulling them in quicker and quicker. And they're going to, it's all come together and fuse together. They're going to all do the fusion dance together, but with all three of them. I think the next major trend, like the most potent trends are, we have like aesthetic things. Right now, I'm kind of on a Zircotai kick. And it's today's market has made it much easier to obtain. Zircotai wasn't a thing for a long time. And then when it was first a thing, it was like a very, like, you weren't going to get Zircotai unless you got it from like the guy who made Zircotai. Now, I call everything Zircotai, right? But only the original is called Zircotai, and all the other Timascus and zirconium combinations are just called like they call them black Timascus or zirconium Timascus, right? They can't call it Zircotai is like a trademarked thing. But now you see it all over the place. We got Zircotai here, we got Zircotai here, we got Zircotai here, right? This is Mochatai, this is white Timascus. Does this have Zircotai on it? No, it doesn't. I can't remember. But that has become a trend, right? It's become a more popular thing. The demand for it has increased, and the price of it has actually decreased, right? I think that can obviously create a trend sometimes when there's like massive demand, and then just circumstantially it becomes less expensive than when it was like really, really rare. It got to China, right? That's what happened. That's a whole different can of worms. Sorry, I'm trying to like mash that lid back on that can. Like, here come all those people. I think the things that cause the biggest trend, I think locks. There's lots of different things that can cause it. I think from my perspective, it's locking systems that create the most potent trends, right? And people like me, I'm a right-handed person, but people like me, we whine a lot. We like to stand up and be like, yes, we will defend. Like here lately, I've been like, I am suddenly all about the rights of left-handed people. I think at some point I just got really frustrated trying to imagine living in a right-handed knife world as a left-handed person, and I just started to get so frustrated, and I realized like everything that's coming across my table now in 2023 is just like they are blatantly ignoring left-handed people. Obviously, this is a problem, and I think many companies have taken note of this, not just because people like me are screaming about it. I think that it's something that people have been trying to figure out for a long time. But let me tell you, something happened, and it's almost like when a seismic event happens in the ocean. And you there's a reading, right? It goes, bloop. And it takes a sec, but the implications and what's actually going to happen. I think sometimes it's like the event happens, and then it like happens on a tectonic plate or above it or something. I saw a video one time where it like the waves like went down into the ocean and like hit somewhere else and bounced back up. And this was like a long time ago. And basically it was like, it took a long time for the aftermath, like the actual impact to occur. But once it did, it was devastating. Now, I'm referencing something that was horrific, but kind of like, basically what I'm referencing here is the shark lock. Obviously, this is a very popular knife. This is the full-size one. This is the US one. This is not the 20.5. This is the big boy, the one that everybody complains that is impossible to get. And they're right. It really is, especially this titanium one. I mean, holy crap. I see maybe 2 or 3 of those drop a year, and they are gone in tenths of a second. That's popular, and it's popular not just because, the profile's cool, the fact that it's USA made is cool, right? But the thing that makes it cool is the lock for most people, right? Oh boy, that is freaking cool, and you are able to manipulate this knife. You can buy a left-handed pocket clip for it. I think you can request it after you buy it, or maybe it comes with it now, I don't know. This knife is extremely easy to manipulate with both hands. It also uses a spring that is not an Omega spring, right? Benchmade was the first to develop the Axis lock, that style of lock, and it ran on Omega springs, which was great. Ambidextrous lock, and pretty darn strong. The Axis lock has proven to be, if you didn't know, one of the strongest folding knife locks on the market, right? Once the patent was up, we saw them all over the place, right? So if you didn't know that, if you're like, I don't know if Benchmade come up with that. I sure do see those around. I see them all over the place. Yeah, it's because the patent ran out. So now we see them everywhere. This is a whole long bunch of events that has already occurred. So we see them all over the place. Who's he attacking? But we see them all over the place because they're ambidextrous, they're fidgety, they're easy to manipulate, right? And, people just like them outside of it's kind of a dice roll with Omega springs. Some people, they'll use an Axis lock knife for 10, 15 years. Nothing. Same set of Omega springs. Some people will use it one day and they'll break. But it's not that. It's not like 50-50, right? It just has a more noticeable failure rate than something like a liner lock. So the Demco, the shark lock, uses a coil spring. Little tiny coil spring that's completely and totally captive within the walls of the frame and the lock itself. If you've ever taken one apart, I wouldn't recommend it. That spring will fly across the room. It took me 3 hours to find it back in the other dungeon. But it's a better spring. Way less likely for any failure to occur. I don't know that it can. Short of just like submerging it in salt water and then just hoping it works, right? But yeah, that system's better. So that's really cool. It's super popular. Obviously, the 80-20.5 is very, very popular. Lots of people have them. I myself consider it an evergreen knife. One of the most legendary pocket knives because while it is still expensive, the fact that the 80-20.5 can be had for as little as $150, truthfully, the better version's $250 and up, right? Let's be real. Way less than the $450 to $650 full USA versions, right? The one you're seeing here $650 if you can actually find one at a retailer, which is usually not going to be the case. Usually the case is you go secondary and pay $2,000 for something like that, right? But my point is, the 80 20.5 made shockwaves, real shockwaves. Holy crap. Easy to manipulate. Incredible longevity. Very, very strong. Very fidgety, right? Yeah, a lot of companies took note. I've seen a lot of concept renderings for locks, and wouldn't you know it, there's a common theme. Everything that I've seen, hey, we're developing this new lock. Obviously, I can't tell you guys who I'm talking about, right? You're just gonna have to wait, right? And none of them know that the other ones are all but I've seen a lot of concepts. They're all a little bit different, but guess what they all have in common? They're all on the spine. They're all meant to be ambidextrous. They're all meant to be really strong. We are going to see a tidal wave of locking systems that are manipulated from the spine. Obviously, I mean, I know this is still a frame lock, but we have a secondary, on the T1000, we have secondary Frankenstein pins that are manipulated via this sliding lock in the back. Microtech just came out with the RAM lock. I mean, listen, well, I'm presenting this as if it's like this revelation, like I'm the only one who's not, but obviously I'm not the only one. It says, it doesn't make a genius. I mean, a 5-year-old could make the same observations that I just made, right? But I'm telling you, if it didn't dawn on you, we're going to see a tidal wave of ambidextrous spine or axis style locking systems with a more dependable spring system. Microtech's RAM lock has taken them from an incredible, like, overlord, super powered, popular knife company, and it has basically, like, propelled them into demi-godhood. And then, funny enough, the MSI is, and you know, even the Stitch isn't terrible, but the MSI is priced really well. Holy crap. Yeah, people obviously want that. Now, I understand this isn't a spine lock, but this is that it's an ambi lock that's very strong. Have you seen how that thing comes together? That's a super strong lock. Coil spring operation. Yeah. Oh, man. We're going to have a lot of companies trying to do their own thing. They are not going to wait for a patent to expire. Not in this day and age. It's not a good business plan to just wait for a patent to expire anymore. You gotta be making, you know, every company is like scrambling to make their own incredible ambidextrous high strength lock that's springy and clicky and fidgety and just right? That's what everybody wants. Movie ninja metal sounds, right? But it's also functional and super duper strong. Oh yeah. Blades and inlays and flashy this and not flashy this and that and tactical this and that, all the different aesthetics, the classic aesthetics, the kind of, you know, the steampunk stuff. We're going to see the retro this or that, the futuristic this or that, which is going to be a repeat of the same different, you know, we'll see some interesting, innovative, different aesthetic stuff. We always do, right? Maybe new materials or combinations of materials will hit the market. I would love to see that, right? Find a way to make like blued cobalt Damascus, you know, be less expensive. That would be sick. But now maybe like new combinations of materials hit the market, but we'll continue to see the same recycled retro or futuristic aesthetics over and over and over again. The difference will be it's going to have these new hyper locks. We're going to see locks that are so, you know, oh wait, there's a third group of people who are going to be offended here. I don't care how strong the lock is. Ain't nothing going to replace the strength and integrity of a fixed blade. Listen, that's a very generalized statement, and it assumes so much of the people who are praising locking systems on folding knives is oversimplification of something to make yourself feel really smart. Well, sit on down and you're, I'm just imagining someone being seated in a wooden chair that's too small for them. Like a wooden chair that you would find in a kindergarten. Have a seat. In the event that you are comparing something like the Riot T1000, which is a folding knife, right? So that statement is true if you were comparing a fixed blade of similar dimensions, right? Then yes, the fixed blade would be stronger. But if you took a fixed blade with a substantially weaker spine tang, right? Even though this is a folding knife, I know people are going to argue with me, we've got so many points of contact between all of these pins and the frame lock and the external stops. I would actually bet on this over a very thin-tanged fixed blade. So that's circumstantial, and it is not an apply-all statement. It does not make you look smart. But to combat my own argument, here's the problem with stuff like this. It's mostly just following a trend, right? I mean, it's really heavy and super duper impractical. It's overkill. We don't need it. It's just fun, right? So what I'm saying is that a statement in response to that, you assume too much and you don't realize how many layers there are to that, right? It's not even worth having a conversation about. A lot of people who collect stuff like this are not like, I like this because it's stronger than a fixed blade. No, not at all. But the race for these super locks is going to be there one way or another. Not because people constantly like, God, I keep breaking all of my knives. I just break a knife and break a knife. If only some company would develop a lock that is suitable for me and my incredible strength because I'm so powerful. It's not that I use my tools in an unreasonable way. I'm just so brawny and so strong. I just keep breaking all my tools. No one is walking around there. I mean, if you are, like, God bless your soul. I hope you make it through at least another 10 years on this earth, right? But nobody's walking around like that. It's interesting because it's interesting. It's not like, it's like, like there are cars that can go 300 miles an hour. Production street legal cars that can go 300 miles an hour, right? They'd be like, gosh, that's silly. Did you know that generally the speed limit, unless you're on the Autobahn, of course, it's only about 80 miles an hour. I mean, why would you need something? Shut up! Do you really feel like you're educating people when you say stuff like that? Is that really, do you feel smart with that noise and that weird, dirty, mud crust coming out of your face hole? No. It's interesting because it can do it. It's just the simple fact of it. It's interesting. Whether or not it has a reasonable application in a normal person's day-to-day life, that's out the window, right? Enthusiast territory. It's interesting because it's interesting. I say, press onward, press forward. I don't want to stop until we have lightsabers, until we have pocket lightsabers. I don't need a role in my life for a pocket lightsaber. I just want to have it. And so do the other people who are interested in progression. Progression in terms of, I don't think this is apply all, but in terms of knives, progression for the sake of progression. Absolutely. I'm all for that. Not every aspect of everything in the whole world, but let's simplify it just to knives. Yes. I don't care if we as the community don't need it. Do it. If you can find a way to make an umbrella come out of a pocket knife, right, then do it. I don't care. I don't need that, but definitely do it, right? Because remember, even if the new trend just bothers you and, I'm bothered by that. I hate them fidgety, front flippers. I hate that trend. Gosh darn it, those front flippers. Don't buy front flippers. This is the silence that occurs after that's said to that person. Because that person has no idea what to do. It had never occurred to them that they could simply ignore the things that they don't want to buy. They'd rather spend time and energy complaining about it. The same way I do when I talk about like the small knife trend, right? Did we even remotely stay on topic today? Kinda, yeah. I hope you guys know. I mean, I know like I chase a lot of people off at the beginning of these. I hope everybody knows that I still enjoy ruffling feathers, but in a friendly way, right? I'm just joking around. But yeah, that's my prediction here. And I think anybody could make this prediction. We're going to see a lot of them. I don't know if we're going to start seeing them in the next year, or the next 2 years. There's a lot of stuff in development. A lot. And that's the thing. When we see one major OEM developing a concept for a piece like this, I would say that's for every one, you're talking 5 to 10 companies who use this OEM, right? I mean, I don't know that any one specific company is going to have the right, like some of these are being developed by designers who I guess maybe would patent it. But some of these locks are being developed by the OEMs, which means, oh boy, we're going to see them on a lot of different things, right? We're going to see a lot of different versions. Or a lot of the same thing with subtle variations, right? I don't know. I hope nobody gets, in legal this or that with him. I'm not going to be here to be a part of any of that. But I'll be here to review it all, and it'll be interesting. Right? These locks are going to be over the top strong. Definitely. The blade will completely shatter. Fixed blade, folding blade, doesn't matter. All the blades will shatter before any of these locks, these newer locks fail. I can guarantee it, right? I mean, we're talking like the age of the triad lock being the one king of locks is gone. It's not like it's coming. No, it's gone. We have tons of locks that compete with the triad lock, right? Those days are gone. We're heading into days where locks are fortified so far beyond the triad lock that it didn't make sense to begin with. It certainly isn't going to make any sense in the future. But that's my favorite part. Those are my favorite parts of knives. The parts that make the least sense, right? Banana dispensers and umbrellas coming out of pocket knives. You betcha. Sign me up and give it the strongest lock in the whole world. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Weird episode today, guys. Fantastic. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think. I'm afraid to now. I'm afraid that I'm gonna be categorized and you're gonna make fun of me. Nah, go ahead. What's the worst that could happen? I make a video out of you? Okay. We're getting to the point where I'm laughing at my own jokes. Time to stop. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on the Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.